Jamani, I want to know wewe ni nani, unatoka wapi, unafanya nini?
Hey, big questions. But thank you so much for having me here. I was saying that I love a good girl chat. It's always a very sweet time. My name is Wairimu Nduba. I am from Nairobi, and I am a music researcher and historian.
Wow.
And that's me.
That's a big career, wewe.
It really is.
That's a
I'm
big
just like,
career.
yo, this is lifelong. This is actually literally lifelong work. Yeah, so, yeah.
This is so beautiful. So I went to one of those national schools. We used to have an academic day and we had a ridiculous board. Kikubwa hivi. Kilikuwa kimeandikwa careers mingi. Careers hata mimi mwenyewe mpaka waleo sijawahi patana nazo. Na hii sijawahi kutana nayo. Like you're one in a million. Now to you, wewe ni nani, unafanya nini?
Asante kwa kutukaribisha. So naitwa Furaha Ruguru. Nitoka bara pia, lakini pia mimi ni mpwani. Na mimi ni mwanahabari wa muziki. Hiyo inamaanisha mimi huandika kuhusu muziki. Pia nafanya utafiti kuhusu muziki wetu haswa huku Kenya. Ukifikiria mambo ya taarab, benga, rumba, kuingia tu ndani kutafuta mizizi yetu kimuziki. Na pia mimi ni DJ. Ukisikia DJ Raha ndio mimi. Ndio mimi huyo. Na mambo mengi zaidi.
Wow.
Na mama pia.
Salamu
kwa mtoto wangu.
Oh my goodness. Siku ni
this.
yako. Siku ni yako manze.
Ni weekendi sivyo?
Yes. Oh my goodness. Now, let's get down to business. These careers you guys chose, crazy big careers. And isn't the careers in haziko saturated na wanawake? So I want to know, what made you choose that journey?
I think I'd actually like to open up that whole conversation about hisia wanawake, because when I think about lullabies, lullabies also like ancestrally were a very big part of passing on like music traditions. So was also a very big part of passing on like philosophies and ethos, and those were women, those were aunties, moms singing those songs to women. And so I think
our national anthem, literally.
Yeah, so I think there's ways in which I've also been pushing back against this whole thing not being for women. Also, but I'm also very cognizant of the fact that, yes, it's true, a lot of these industries were not built with us in mind. But I found myself here pretty much by accident. Sikuamka when I was like 5 and said that, I want to be a music historian. But it came for me through university. I studied music in university, and when I was in university, I noticed that a lot of what we were studying was very Western based and focused. And so that was when I was asking myself the question of, I'm Kenyan, I'm living in Kenya, but why do I know very little about those that came before me musically? So when I was asking my questions, I think that's what led me onto the pathway of trying to find out more information, and also sharing this information, because I think for me a big part of it was that I can't just gatekeep this knowledge that I'm coming across. It must be shared, I think, because a lot of my peers were asking the same kinds of questions. And so yeah, that's how it began. But my background, I am a classically trained pianist. I started playing the piano when I was 5.
Yeah. I know, right? The pressure. What was I doing at 5? I don't even know, man. I don't know. It is that pathetic.
My parents, my parents were the one. To be honest, I'm so grateful for my parents. I think they were really literally the ones that fanned this into flame for me, and I think it's sweet. So yeah, that's me.
Oh my goodness. Now back to you. Pia wewe safari umechagua si rahisi wanze. It's actually a road not traveled by many. So I want to know, what inspired you to just choose this?
So mimi nilianza kama wewe, nimekuwa nikifanya muziki kwa muda mrefu. Sijui kama wewe ulikuwa unaimba ama
I don't like saying I can sing, because not everyone will be like, imba, and it's just a trap.
So unajua by the end si unafunza pia piano?
Yes, I used to. Not
you
anymore,
used to, or not anymore.
Yeah.
Okay.
You sound kama wale wasi wanaambiwa, guys, you wimbe. No, my voice is bad. Like I can't do this.
No, but you sing really well.
Yeah. So nimekuwa nikiimba tangu niwe mtoto. Sijui kama nilikuwa na miaka 5, lakini nimeimba. Alafu nikiwa chuo kikuu nilianza kuona waandishi wengine wakianza blog. Sijui mnakumbuka This Is S, Biko Zulu. So hao ndio kanipa wazo, si hata mimi naweza anzisha blog. So hivyo ndio nilianza, na kwa sababu nimependa muziki tangu kitambo, nikaanza kuandika kuhusu muziki. Alafu punde si punde nikasikia radio station ya campus yetu ilikuwa na auditions. Kasema why not? So hivyo sasa ndio nikaingia radio ya campus. Shout out to SIU radio. Alafu so nikaanza kuandika hii blog, nikaanza radio show in campus pia kuhusu muziki. Na hivyo ndio safari ilianza. So hata nilipomaliza shule niliendelea na vitu hivyo, kwa sababu nilikuwa nasema 9 to 5 hapana. Not for me. But pia so hiyo ndio imekuwa kazi, kudocument, kujulisha watu hii ndio muziki mpya kutoka Kenya, hao ndio wasanii wanabamba, kuwahoji nini. But sasa kuingia sasa kwa research na history, actually Wejo Kenya ambayo ni platform yake ilikuwa very instrumental, because nilikuwa na kufuata Twitter na IG, naona unatuambia kuhusu wasanii wa sijui 1950s, nasema hao ni nani, unajua like so shout out to you, because mimi nilikuwa shabiki tangu hizo enzi, nikiona unashare vitu haziko kwa mainstream. Hakuna mtu alitufunza ati wasanii wa 1950 Kenya walikuwa wanaitwa nani. Unajua tunajua tu mambo ya siasa, hiyo ndio tumefunzwa. So kuona watu kama wewe, kuona watu kama Ketable Music, wanafanya utafiti, wanatufunza vile mambo yalikuwa kitambo, vile Nairobi ilikuwa imeshika wakati wa 60s. Like wasanii kutoka Afrika yote walikuwa wanakuja Nairobi kurecord, kwa sababu huko ndio pekee kulikuwa na like the vinyl pressing plant. I mean kulikuwa na nyingine South Africa, but pia like in this region that was the main one. So wasanii kutoka Congo, Tanzania, Uganda, wapi, Zambia walikuwa wanakuja Nairobi. So can you imagine 1970s vile Nairobi ilikuwa imeshika kimziki. Anyway, so after kulearn mambo hayo, pia mimi nikasema lazima nishiriki, nifunze watu, huku ndio tumetoka. Pia tusiegemee sana ati sauti za wengine, ati afropop, afrobeat, hip hop. Like ziko sawa, lakini tuko na benga, tuko na rumba, tuko na chakacha, tuko na tarab, tuko na momboko, isikuti. Like tuko na sounds tamu sana kama wa Kenya. Unajua, lakini hatuzijui, na ndio maana sasa tunajipata tunaiga watu wengine, tunaiga sauti za wengine, na tuwezi ifanya kama wao, kwa sababu hizo si zetu. Kwa hivyo mbona tujikumbuke, tujifunze. Bado sisi bado vijana. Haimaanishi kama tungekuwa wazee ndio tukisema hapana, hiyo si yetu, hiyo wacha watoto wajifunze. Basi sisi bado vijana, kumaanisha bado tuko na nafasi ya kujifunza sauti ambazo zilikuwa, kujua watu wale ambao walianzisha sauti hizi, na kujua sasa tutaenda wapi baada ya kujua mambo haya.
Wow, that is so beautiful. I love it when I see women who are thriving in the industry support each other na wanaambiana, you know what, niliona kazi yako ili ni inspire manze. You guys are doing something so beautiful. Wewe kwanza umeweka your money where your mouth is. Jina zenu zote, you know, African names, you know, in the spirit of Africanism, you guys are doing some really, really beautiful stuff. Now, let's talk about Wajo Kenya. What's up with that? How did that come to be? And right now it's something so big. Is this the vision that you had, Bana?
Wow, I think vile tu nilisema, when I started it in university, and I was at Daystar. I studied music at Daystar University, and I think at the time I entered university, I was with a lot of friends who are trying to think through what does it mean to be African, what does it mean to reclaim our history, because I think oftentimes the history that we're taught in school is, first and foremost, is very boring, oftentimes, and then it's also very political. As you said, a lot of us know about who was in power politically, we know about the Mau Mau, we know about just like men specifically as well in politics, but we don't know outside, like, you know, what happened outside of that. And I think for me, history is also made by ordinary people. It's not just the big people that we see on TV or in the newspaper. I think history is made by like people, like folks like us. And so because I was with people who are asking those very important questions about what does it mean to be African, what does it mean to celebrate where we've come from, what does it mean to reclaim our history, I began thinking, what does this mean through sound? So nilianza tu Vejo Kenya hivo. I began it, I think the idea just came to me, and I was like, you know what, I think the easiest way for also this knowledge to be shared is on Instagram, because everyone my age or, you know, in general was on Instagram. So I'm like, this is the tool that I have at hand, because I'm a firm believer also with working with what you have. You know, I think sometimes we think we have to wait until we get this equipment, or we have to wait until we have like a PhD, or we have to wait until someone else gives us permission. But no, I think you really have to give yourself permission to start with what you have. So nilianza tu hivo. I woke up, it was like I think 8:00, and I went to my friend and I was like, I have an idea for this, I need you to give me a name. And so it's my friend Sam Combo who gave me the name Vejo Kenya, and I think for me it just summed everything, because it translates to music of the people of Kenya in Jaluo. And so that's how it began, and yeah, it's just been a process of growing ever since. Originally, Vejo Kenya, I think for me, was meant to not purely exist online. Nilianza Vejo Kenya October of 2019. So it's been in existence for quite some time. But sasa, and I remember the first, I think, activation that I had of Vejo Kenya was an in-person activation. I invited my friends over, and we listened to, there's this amazing compilation called Kenya Special. And it chronicles like Kenyan music between the 1960s and 70s specifically. And so I invited my friends over, and we listened to the music, we discussed it, we ate mahindi choma, we drank tea, we ate viazi karai, and it was just a very sweet time. And that was in January of 2020. But then the pandemic happened, and so it meant that
a lot of these meetups can't happen.
They can't happen. So it became an online, you know, that's where it existed. And so I think now I've really been thinking about what it means to go back to having those in-person activations, because I think music is so much sweeter when you're sharing it with people, and you're a DJ, so you would know, you'd be able to tell us. But I think there's something extremely special about sharing a song with someone, and you're seeing them also reacting to the song. And so
that is so beautiful. Now, the thing I love about most Kenyan artists right now is the fact that they are borrowing from Kitambo. You know, like, for example, look at this song Chai ya Sakumi. When you listen to its sound, kidogo imeboro. And I love that we are looking back and we are borrowing from our roots, because, you know. So I was just telling the girlies right now, I went to Dhomeki Kwetu this weekend na ilikuwa Malindi, and the event was meant for the people, but the people were actually outsiders. Now, every single time you come to places kama Swahili Pot-Up Foundation and you are talking to young people, do young people actually know what you're talking about? Ama, are they getting educated? You know, there's one thing of being part of the conversation and being taught while in the conversation.
I mean, we've only been here 2 days, only 1.5 days. But yeah, I feel like there's a huge information gap huku Kenya. Everywhere I've been, whether it's Nairobi, Mombasa, Kilifi, hey man, colonization did a big one on us. A big one. So vile tu nasema huko Dhomeki Kwetu, like, the people were not familiar with the culture. It's such a prevalent thing huku Kenya, and ndio maana tunafanya hii kazi, kujikumbusha sisi ni nani, na mziki is such a big part of culture yetu. So tukijikumbuka kimziki, mziki inafungua milango to know the other aspects of culture.
Wow, that is so beautiful. Now, the other thing I really love about our modern artists is they are really, really borrowing from our roots. And I'm looking at events kama Gondwana. I attended one Gondwana and I loved it. The house music. Unasikia elongi. You know, this is something you actually don't expect from our artists. So you sit down with artists when you wako in the industry, wasi wanapenda mziki kama wewe, and people who archive music just like you. What is the one one thing yenye huwa inafanana among these people yenye wase wengine unafeel hawafanyi in the music industry?
I think maybe Furaha, do you want to take that one first?
Hey, sis.
That's a very big question.
I mean, I think, because for example, sisi wawili, we are such people. I think what's different is ile mziki tunasikiza first of all. Like, you know, like ile mziki hata iko kwa simu yako ama you listen in your free time, you know. So there's that interest of digging, interest in digging, interest in kuexplore sounds haujazoea, because I feel like kuna wase wengi wanasikizanga tu kitu wamezoea ama kitu imehit, you know, finally. Like everyone I meet is just telling me that, you know, but do you know ngoma za twist? Do you know ngoma za benga? You know, so there's the interest ni kukuwa na hiyo interest ya kutoka out of the box and out of vitu wa usikiza. Yeah, ndio udiscover to what people listening to kitambo, what neza pata inspiration wapi. So ni hiyo curiosity na willingness kuexplore kitu au jaskia before na kukua open-minded.
I think one of my favorite artists is Nyakavi Karaoke, and she does a lot of like experimental music, but you can tell that this is someone who's done their research, because I think the longer I've been in this space, you can also tell when someone has done the work
and when they're cooking
and when they're lying. You can actually tell. So I think for me it's also been interesting to see the people who've actually done the work, because I think right now it's not about you have to be willing to also like to grow, because I think for me, as I sit here, I'm not sitting here also as someone who has all the information. I think this work is always teaching me about growth, and I'm always learning. I think for me that's always been the position that I've tried to take. So yeah, just that willingness to learn with the music and alongside the music. Yeah.
Well, that is so nice. Now, Wairimu, I just want to know, do you think we're losing parts of our sonic history faster than we actually preserve them? Because I'm looking at my upbringing, yeah? I grew up with parents when you walikuwa deeply rooted in African music. And when I say African music, honestly, manze uko Central Africa, rumba imeshika hivi. Papa Lolo, Falipupa, you know? Like, and lately I sit with my friends and I will play some of those songs, wanazikumbuka, you know, and you know these are songs that you actually vibe to, but ikiisha tu hivi walai nisipoiweka aitawaiekwa, you know. You never hear these songs in clubs unless people have decided to do a rumba night. And when they do play these rumba songs, they will stick to the Congolese ones. They never actually choose the Kenyan ones. Za Kenya ziko hivi kidogo. So are we actually losing them instead of preserving them?
This is a good question, because I've also been asking myself that concept of what it means to lose something. And in a sense, there is a sense of loss in terms of like even like a loss of interest. I think now it's been very exciting to watch people, even like on TikTok or on Instagram. I've been seeing people do a lot of like like these short like form videos about like history, and are speaking like very directly to not just like sonic histories but other histories as well. And so I think for me, there's definitely a rise in interest in people wanting to know about more about who they are and where they're from. And so I think I have hope. I think I have a lot of hope as to where this aspect of the work is going. And so I think for me, it's also challenged that notion of what does it mean to lose something, because I truly believe that you can't lose something that belongs to you, is in your body, is encoded in your genetics. I think it's just more about making space for this recovery to take place, because I think that's something that I've been sitting with, that if something belongs to you, it can never really be lost. I think it's just a point of going back and finding it. So yeah.
I love that. Yeah.
Now, hatuwezi funga hii show without talking about La Music Junkie.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now, when you guys started that beautiful and amazing movement, what were you looking at as gaps in the industries zenye munataka tu kuziba, man?
Okay, so La Music Junkie, as niliongea before, ilianza ka blog back in 2016, and nilianza kwa kuongea kuhusu hottest events. Nakumbuka nilikuwa obsessed na Justin Bieber at that time. So a lot of Justin
Sisi
Bieber.
wote babe, sisi wote. Roho safi. As she was playing piano.
Yeah.
Tulikuwa
Justin Bieber with his hair.
Bro.
Yeah, so nilikuwa very focused on like alternative American pop because hiyo ndio tulilishwa kwa televisheni. But then now pole nikaanza kuenda live events ndio nikadiscover by the way Kenya ni wanoma. Achana tu na hizi ngoma unasikiza kwa radio, just kuenda show na kuona wa Kenya. That changed my life. Sasa script ikabadilika kabisa, nikasema sasa tunaongea kuhusu Kenya. So kazi yangu sasa ikakuwa kujulisha watu wa Kenya wagani wanabamba mziki wao mpya, show gani unaweza enda kuwatazama. Like ikakuwa tu lazima nijulishe watu huu tamu ambao tunao kimziki. Na sasa huo ndio umekuwa mission tangu enzi hizo. Kuinterview wasanii, kwa podcast, kwa events, kureview projects, like just kuambia watu mziki yetu ni noma. So I think hilo ndilo lilikuwa lengo kwanza, like nataka watu wajue Kenyan music is amazing. It's gold. Like achana to watch, cause kwanza nyakati hizo tulikuwa sana pia colonized by sijui bongo, sijui Naija, sijui like tulikuwa tunasikiza kila mtu mwingine isipokuwa sisi. But with time sasa tunaona, unajua Play KE imekuwa real thing. Like right now tunasikiza more Kenyan music than we did 10 years ago. So hiyo I feel like juhudi zangu na pia za wengine zime what's that phrase? Like kusema zimeota, I don't know, but hiyo phrase zime bear fruit. So hiyo ndio ilikuwa mission ya kwanza na I think ime happen. Bado tunaendelea because saa kuna wasanii wengine wanaendelea kuchipuka na ni noma lakini bado hajulikani. So kazi yangu nahisi bado ni kuwainua ili dunia iwaone. Na sasa saa hii isipokuwa hiyo sasa ime-evolve kukua. Sasa nataka kufunza watu ama kukumbusha watu mahali tumetoka kimziki. Ndio pia tuwe na msingi. Tukitengeneza mziki saa hii tunajua tunatengeneza kutoka benga ama kutoka taarab ama kutoka nini. Like tuwe vile tu ulikuwa unasema kujikumbuka, kujua pali tumetoka, kujua mizizi yetu. Ndio pia tukitoa mziki inajulikana imetoka Kenya, si mziki tu kutoka kokote kule, like iko na identity. Mtu akisikiza ngoma asema hii ni ya wapi, sijaisikia kitu kama hii. Alafu unamwambia hii unajua tumechanganya taarab na R&B, ikakuwa R&B. Alafu unasema
R&B.
Okay.
Yeah, actually niko na ngoma ya R&B. Ya kuchanganya taarab na R&B. So mtu atajiuliza taarab ni ya wapi? Alafu sasa unamrudisha hii ilitoka pwani. So unaelewa. So sahi mission saini first of all kujifunza hizi sound zetu, kujua vile zinatengenezwa, vile zina sound, cause lazima kwanza ujue kitu kabla uanze kutengeneza kitu iko inspired by it. So hapo ndio niko sahi kufunza listeners na pia kufunza wasanii, cause pia mimi niko kwa hiyo journey ya kuzisikiza, kuzigundua, alafu sasa tuone sasa tunaweza fanya nini, tunaweza unda nini ambayo inaweza leta identity kwa mziki yetu.
Wow, that is so beautiful. Yeah. I think the most disappointing thing nimepatana nayo this week was this whole review of Swahili Festival ilifanyika in Nairobi. I think you guys have seen these videos on social media with people complaining, number one, the music was trash, like the DJ who was brought ni kama adi alikuwa na play na simu. Like, number one, you have not chosen actual coastal music, there's something very very beautiful about coastal music, especially hii ya kitambo. Song ina run for like 10 minutes but wamebadilisha ngoma at least 4 times in between, and I think that's the same thing that used to happen with rumba na music yetu tu ya the 70s. You're listening to a song in between, sasa ndio wanaanza kubanjuka katikati. And I think we actually lost that beauty, so people are talking about how the event organizers, number one, adi hawakuleta the coastal food, and we arbitrate betraying ourselves. We have the intention,
Yeah.
lakini information imeuma nje kidogo. And I'm also looking at our Kenyan artists. So many artists are trying to be Kendrick Lamar. We're seeing so many people try to be SZA, lakini no one wants to be their authentic self. And I feel like we have this pressure of artists trying to globalize instead of actually being actual Kenyans, you know? So as a person who is archiving music, when you meet these artists, what do you try to change? What kind of conversations do you ibua? But we are changing the country one by one person.
By fire, by force.
Wewe umeshikilia the button hivi.
I don't know how I have those conversations with friends, because I think I am fortunate to a lot of my friends do work in the creative industries, not necessarily in music, but in different aspects and in different places. I think by doing what we're doing, by doing what Furaha and I are doing, and by making this information accessible and for making it for also us being young doing this work, because I think even in the conversations that we're actually currently here in Mombasa for, which is around like youth and museums, I think a lot of what has come up is that I think a lot of people feel the notion of like history and culture and heritage is something for old people, is for people who are just like older, like our grandparents' generation, etc. But I think by us doing what we're doing, not even because we want to provoke, but because I think we both genuinely have a love and a curiosity to know more about the past. I think by us doing what we're doing, then I think a lot more people can be provoked to being more in touch with who they are and where they're from. Because I think for me, I've learned so much from looking at people who are so grounded in themselves. I think when you meet someone who's so grounded in themselves, then that shifts something within you and you're like, okay, so where have I gone wrong? Like where have I what do I need to resolve within myself? And so I think for me it's not necessarily been a thing of maybe forcefully like walking up to me, a musician, and shaking them and being like, excuse me, you're not Kendrick Lamar, you're Jogona, please. Wait. I think for me it's not been that. It's just been more, how can I do my thing and do my thing authentically in a way that could invite someone to also be honest with themselves and to show up authentically. So I think for me that's how to answer the question.
Wow, that is so beautiful. Mmesema nyinyi ni watu wa bara. What are you doing in our town, wewe? Tena at Swahili Pot Up Foundation. What's up?
So tulialikwa ndio na Swahili Pot, shout out to Abu, kwa sababu kuna hii workshop, mimi naita workshop, inaleta cultural practitioners kutoka nchi mbalimbali. Kuna Rwanda, Tanzania, Kenya, Uganda, ndio tunakutana kuona vile museums za Africa na Europe zinaweza fanya kazi pamoja, na pia kuona vile tunaweza shirikisha vijana katika museums, because vile umetuambia like uko Rwanda nyinyi mlikuwa integrated na museums na heritage sites mapema, lakini sisi tulienda tu kwa sababu ilikuwa trip. School trip. Tulifosiwa kuenda museum, but for most of us hiyo ndio ilikuwa mara ya mwisho tulienda museum. As adults hakuna kitu inatupeleka museum, unaelewa? So sasa tumekuja pamoja kufikiria ni nini zinaweza fanya vijana kama sisi tutake kwenda kwa museums, because kwa museums because hapo ndio heritage, some of heritage iko stored, you know, a lot of stories, a lot of artifacts, a lot of culture iko hidden. So how can we reconnect back na museum? So tumekuja ndio lete bongo zetu pamoja and come up with like solutions for that.
Wow. And so far so good. You know, adi MPs wetu wanakanga parliament lakini solutions hatuonangi. We are just drowning. We are drowning in Nairobi, you know. So the thing I want to know is, are you guys actually finding these solutions? And you know, a lot of the time we talk to people and we try to create an interest, but interest haiko bana. I don't know. I had so many motivational speakers in high school, but it was my nap time. You know, ilikuwa time yangu ya kurejuvenate akili. So are people actually interested in these conversations? Do they want to get into it? Because by the way, I must confess, as a person who's been in Kenya for a hot minute, anytime I tell my friends, you know what, ebu tuende, at a park museum tumeenda sana at a park they don't want to do that. People want to party, people want to get down. And I think the time nimewaiona, I think I've told you guys about this, the time nimeona for Jesus ikiwa imeja, it's when these South African DJs came to play and people were paying tiko za 5k kuingia hapo ndani. When on a normal day 200, no one is going in there though. Yeah, so is this something young people are actually interested in?
I think maybe we're biased because a lot of the people that are actually there
Ni watu wenu, si ndio? Birds of a feather.
Birds of a feather. But I think for me that the fact that it's so many birds of a feather that are already there, and I think these are people who are very passionate about what it is that you're doing. And I think for me, I always gravitate, or people gravitate to people who are very passionate about what it is that they stand for. So I think there's a fire that I'm seeing in these kinds of conversations that will, I think, hopefully spark change. I mean, if anything taught us with the whole Mandamano protests of last year and the year before is that we have a voice and we take ourselves seriously. And so by fire, by force, other people will have to take us seriously about these matters. And so I think for me, that's something that these conversations are showing us, that people are very hungry for solutions and are also willing to put in the work to make these solutions feasible. And so yeah, it's a great time to be a young person.
Wow, that is so beautiful. Now unfortunately tumefika tamati. So you guys had probably different dreams growing up. Sijui mtu wa piano you know, but you were definitely going to end up in the music industry. And so far so good. I'm looking at Wajo Kenya, I'm looking at La Music Junkie, and the fact that mulita futwa to come to a place like this. You know, you guys are recognized and you're doing beautiful things. Now we have young people who might have the same passion as you, but unfortunately, number one, exposure kidogo iko chini. They want to do what you guys are doing, but support pia iko chini. We have systems that do not really support the dreams that we have, especially unique dreams kama zenu. What would you tell such a young person?
Hey, I think mi vile nilianza, it's all about kukua inspired by wase ambao wanafanya hii kazi. So mi wana first step inakuanga tu tafuta watu wanafanya kitu ungependa kufanya. Learn, consume content yao, learn from them. Hata whether it's unawa DM ama ni tu unawa follow na una interact na content, inspiration kwanza. Angalia ni nini watu wanafanya, recommend kitu tafuta. There's so much, kuna information nyingi sana, content nyingi sana. So I think that's always, as long as uko na simu, unaweza tufuata, unaweza fuata watu wengine, upate content, upate ideas, and then once umepata hiyo inspiration, inakupea sasa nguvu hata wewe kuanza na whatever you want to do, whether it's, you know what I mean? So ni inspiration and then do the thing. Bring people pamoja. I think pia vile umesema kuna uzuri na online because online nafikia watu wengi, but pia saa kuleta watu pamoja, after umeshafanya hii kitu na unaanza kuona kuna wase wana resonate. Organize a hangout, kwani iko nini? Si lazima ikue kitu mnaweza sema acha tuende hapa Mama Ngina Park. Unaambia tu twende Mama Ngina Park tusikize mziki ama tufanye nini? Watu watakuja. So then anza ku create community around hiyo kitu, because kuna watu wanapenda kitu unapenda, hata kama ni watu 5 tu.
That is your tribe.
So anza kujenga sasa hiyo community, sibaki tu ati ni kitu ya online ati kuwe famous online. Lazima pia ucreate community na watu ambao mnaonana ana kwa ana. So I think hizo vitu tatu, get inspired, create your content, create community.
Wow.
I think for me it would also be something similar to what you said, but I believe like I said earlier, in starting with what you have, you shouldn't wait for other people to give you permission to do something that you really want to do. So start with what you have. I think for me, I'm really grateful for mentors that I also identified early on in my career. Like you said, reaching out to people. I think for me, reaching out to people who've also been have been in the scene, in the game for a longer time, and going to them and being like, what lessons have you learned? what ways do you think I could grow, I think is so helpful, because I think people are also so willing to share. That's something I've noticed. People are actually really willing to share with you what they know. They're really willing to share with you connects and connections to other people in this industry. So I think for me, that's the thing. Just start with what you have and look for a mentor. Look for someone who you can ask these questions, because it's not easy. I have to say, my journey, it's not been like straightforward. It hasn't been easy, but I think having people who I know are genuinely in my corner and have had more experience in this game for longer has made it sweeter.
Wow, that is so beautiful. Now, Nikifunganga show, we usually have like a story of the day, a topic of the day, and our main story today, of course, was around Jerida. And I don't know if you know this babe. She used to be a presenter at Citizen, at Radio Citizen, but right now she is Majuya. So she was talking about how love is not enough to sustain a marriage. Like there must be other things, and we are living in an age where wase wanasema ndoa hubamba mafala. We are living in an age where people do not want to have that companionship, and she went on to say sometimes you just need shared values, sometimes you need to be equally yoked, number one, and another thing, you also need commitment. So for you guys, our question of the day was really easy. What keeps your relationships alive?
That's an easy question, but that's also a hard question.
I know, right?
Mi najua. I think mi nakuanga na 3 C's.
Three C's. You are ready for this question.
Wait. KPI zako umezibeba hivi.
Kauzi beat, pole bro. But I think my 3 C's ni care. Like, I think what keeps relationships alive, either whether it's romantic or not, is care. First of all, unajua care, kindness, calling someone, hugging someone, getting them a gift, care, showing care, right? Second thing, communication. Like, kuna hiyo communication ya kupigiana simu, kutext, but pia hiyo communication ya deep communication, like ile unaambia mtu what's really going on inside you. You know what I mean? Like heart to heart, it even becomes a connection, heart to heart connection. So I think care, communication, and consistency. So consistency means si ati unani ghost for 2 months, halafu unarudi, alafu una act like nothing went wrong. There's something in, I mean, kuna ile kupoteana, katai kuna watu potea. Okay, but if you're in a relationship,
unapotea ukienda wapi? Unaenda wapi? Awe bana.
Yeah, so I think pia consistency consistency in everything, whether it's in the communication, with consistency in the care, consistency in showing up for someone, showing up for yourself. So it's love ni kujitolea. Love si tu feelings. You literally have to put in work for the relationship to work. So you have to give ndio you receive hiyo kitu unataka. So care, communication, consistency, I think create your commitment.
Wow, that is so beautiful.
Hey, now how can I top that?
Yeah.
How can I top that? Can I say retweet and just borrow everything that you said?
The pressure is getting worse.
The pressure is getting worse. Yeah, I mean, I think it's very much similar to what you said. I don't think I'd have anything to add. I think maybe just like honesty. I think we need just honesty, and not honesty, because I think people say honesty and mistake that for being mean. You don't, like, I think for me, honesty and being mean are not the same thing.
You don't have to be brutal with
exactly,
it,
and I think it goes back to what you said about care, because if you're honest and you're coming from a place of care, then you're going to be kind with the way in which you communicate. So to be honest, I really think you summarized. I would say everything that you said. So I will be borrowing the 3 C's. Next time I'm asked, I'll be like 3 C's.
The 3 C's.
The 3 C's.
Borrowed information, lakini wewe. Borrowed information.
Credit.
I personally felt like the greatest thing for me is friendship, because there are things I would never do to my bestie. But I'm looking at my relationships, especially zile zenye ziliishi and kuna zenye zilibaki, but one thing has been consistent, my bestie. There are things I would never do to my bestie. So when I look at that friendship, and the love and the way we show up for each other. If you can have the same thing in a relationship, love fades. There are days that man will snore and you're like, but I can't do this anyway. You gotta go. There are days this person will not show up for you. There are days that you expect a person to give you 100 but battery equal 20, but at the end of the day, if you guys are friends, you can go for days without talking to your friend, but mukipatana, you're like, bro, I got some tea. You will not believe what's up, like for me, I think it's just friendship, because in friendship you'll find the care, you'll find the kindness, I beat you guys. But oh my goodness, this show has been amazing. Tumefika tamati. Now give me your social media handles. Tutawapata wapi?
All right, you can find me on Instagram. My personal account is at Wairimu Nduba, and my music archival platform is at Verjo Kenya. So WERJOKENYA.
Wow.
Do you say Verjo?
I was about to ask the
Is
same
that
thing.
is that how you say it?
Verjo Kenya.
Verjo Kenya.
Yes. It's not like where. Is it Verjo Kenya? Yeah.
Verjo Kenya.
Verjo Kenya. Na mimi
Insert low
hapo
accent.
interview nimekuwa nikisema wajo Kenya. Hey, information is power.
That tunajua. And also, is it Nduba ama Ndufa?
Duba. We say it's supposed to be Dufa, but we say Duba.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Mimi ni tu mahali. Okay, no, niko na mbili kama wewe. So the journalist side, basically, talking about Kenyan music, that's La Music Junkie.
La Music Junkie.
Hivyo tu La Music, the normal way you say music, and junkie with an IE. That's one word. And then my DJ account, DJ Raha KE, or djraha.ke on IG, YouTube, nini. Hivyo tu.
Sweet.
Wow, that is so beautiful. Mama hata
Na wewe
tumakisha
je?
stima bana.
Na wewe je?
Mimi it's Doki _Obiera, DOCKY _Obiera. Yeah. Oh my goodness. Now, unfortunately, tumefika tamati. Remember, you can get us into the River, Mombasa, Kwale, Kilifi, and Malindi at 91.7. Lamu, it's 91.9, and Taita Taveta 91.5. And the most beautiful thing is I had amazing ladies in studio.
Asante.
Thank you so much for having us.
Majina mtaki.
I didn't know. Okay, yes. My name is Wairimu Nduba. Thank you so much for inviting us to be a part of a conversation with you.
Karibuni tena.
Yeah, I'm Furaha Ruguru. Nimefurahi.
Wow. And every time twafunga twakwambia marhaba.